This is WilmsFront, brought to you by the Unshackled.net.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's WilmsFront Snapshot news show, coming to you on this Monday, the 1st of December, 2025. It is 9 p.m. here in Melbourne, Victoria. We are live on the WilmsFront Rumble channel. I'm attempting to multi-stream for the first time through Rumble Studio. If you're watching this on YouTube, it is coming through on the replay because I'm using both new streaming software and also new streaming hardware. It was all happening here in Melbourne yesterday. So there was the Premier was on aboard the first metro tunnel train through the only blowing out about $4.6 billion to $15.5 billion, but at least it's built now, and at least the first day went on without a hitch, although the United Firefighters Union, they claim that the metro tunnel is not safe, neither is the Westgate tunnel, because they won't be able to rescue people if there's a fire, though most people believe that that has more to do with the fact that there's an industrial dispute between the Allen Labor government and the United Firefighters Union. Union loves to bite the hand that feeds it. So according to Jacinta Allen, 70,000 passengers went through the metro tunnel on the first day. Though that's not why all these Victoria Police public response units were there. And now, I should mention that the train spotters in Melbourne, how's best to describe? Many of them are gay or trans. They have the rainbow or trans flag in their X bio. This was one of the first passengers through the the tunnel there with the Premier, this furry. She's locked in the furry vote. I rode the metro tunnel after I had covered the Put Australia First rally. And yeah, it was hard to tell who was a boy or a girl, though on Transgender Day of Remembrance, they can now change their sex on their birth certificate to whatever they want. Now, as I mentioned, all of those public order response Victoria Police units were there, cops in riot gear, not because of the Put Australia First rally in Melbourne, which was attended by over 2,000 people, but because of anticipated violence from the Campaign Against Racism and Fascism, who organised the counter protest, which is a socialist alternative front group. So they met at the State Library 11:30. The Put Australia First rally met on the steps of Flinders Street Station from 12. And now the socialist Antifa, they tried to draw Muslims in to join their protest because there's been this schism since the war in Gaza ended. So they first latched onto that Tommy Robinson was going to be beaming in from Britain. And then within the last 24 hours, the day before, Pauline Hanson was announced as a speaker. Now, she was already in Melbourne for a One Nation fundraiser on the Sunday evening, but there were rumours she would make an appearance at the rally. Now, there was only two disruptions to Pauline Hanson's speech, which she was surrounded by Australian federal police officers to and from. They set up a protective cage around her on the back of the stage. And in fact, one of the hecklers was actually right next to me. Believe it or not. And so I uploaded a number of shorter videos to the Unshackled YouTube and to my X and Facebook accounts, and I was actually right next to one of the hecklers, and as I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I joined the mob in saying, "Get him out of here."
But those activists would think that I'm divisive. I'm not divisive. All I've ever done was want to pull people together to be proud who we are and live in peace and harmony.
Go home, Pauline! Go home, Pauline! Go home!
Please just listen. Why you disagree with what I'm saying, but do it in peace. You have got to study the scene. Do not fight with one another. It's not helping. Debate the issues. That's what I've always said. Let us have the voice. Debate the issues. Do not shut us down from having an opinion. Everyone has a right to have an opinion and have a say. Don't shut them down because they may differ from you, as they did this week in Parliament to me because I dare wear the burqa.
It was quite the climax to a week of, quite intense week for Pauline Hanson. Obviously, last Monday, in the final week of Parliament, she wore the burqa in protest for being denied leave to table her private member's bill to ban the burqa. And all of the major parties and crossbenchers, apart from obviously One Nation and Ralph Babet of the United Australia Party, voted to suspend her from the Senate for 7 days. And also the Parliament screening of her trailer for her cartoon Super Progressive movie, which will be released on Australia Day, that was banned from being showed in Parliament House because it was deemed offensive. And I think the reason the Liberals and Nationals joined in on banning her from the Senate for a week is because they are also threatened by her rise in the polls, 15 to 18% in the various polls. And particularly with Barnaby Joyce confirming that he has resigned from the National Party, though he hasn't joined One Nation yet, though he said that he'd like to run for the Senate again. It seems a bit of a soap opera. That's what his closest friend in Parliament, well, until last week, some might say Matt Canavan, who used to work for him as his chief of staff, said it's more drama than Days of Our Lives. And Barnaby shouldn't join a protest party. Bridget McKenzie said he would be trashing his legacy as Deputy Prime Minister. John Williams, a former Senate colleague, said he would treat him as an enemy in the same regard as Tony Windsor. So, and I think the fact that Pauline is such riding high in the polls is why the Campaign Against Racism and Fascism decided that they would try and disrupt her appearance at the Put Australia First rally, and they also disrupted the dinner Two of them came in playing drag queen Pauline Pantsdown's, real name Simon Hunt's, song from 1998, where he splices together Pauline Hanson's speeches into the song I Don't Like It. He made another song called I'm a Backdoor Man, which Pauline sought an injunction from the ABC playing because it portrayed her as a transsexual prostitute. So they're scared of her again, though her speech was, in my opinion, it was very civic nationalist friendly. She said, welcome anyone who comes to call Australia home and embraces Australian values and culture. But if you don't, I'll be the first one to drive you to the airport and send you on a plane back home. And it was a very civic nationalist, well, it was by design. So these were organised by Monica Schmidt. On the Saturday, the Put Australia First rally, only about 500 people showed up. Maybe over 2,000 turned up on the Sunday in Melbourne because Pauline was the draw card, and also because Victoria is the protest capital, and there's so many that are also sick of the Allan Labor government, the crime crisis, the infrastructure blowouts. Victoria is not in a good place, and Pauline said she's not from Victoria, and frankly, I wouldn't want to move to Victoria. But going back to, so Monica Schmidt designed this to be a civic nationalist alternative to the March for Australia, which leadership, it's fair to say, is white nationalists. Beck Freedom, her partner, Jessie. So they're very National Socialist Network, White Australia sympathetic. Now, Thomas Sewell, even though he's on bail, wouldn't have been able to go there, even though he claimed after Nick Patterson kicked Joel Davis and the National Socialist Network members who were there out of his pro-Christian event earlier this year, after Deng Pal showed a Black Sun shirt, and Thomas Sewell vowed that the National Socialist Network would show up at all of Nick Patterson's events. He was co-organiser of the Melbourne one, along with Morgan C. Jonas. Monica Schmidt was there, but she sort of stayed in the background for the Melbourne one and let Morgan and Nick run the show. Now, Joel Davis obviously couldn't be there as well. He was the one that was at it was kicked out of the Christian event earlier this year. That was the one to counter the Muslims going near the cathedral. And Joel Davis obviously in custody after he was charged with using a carriage service to menace and harass after he urged his followers to rhetorically rape Teal independent member for Wentworth, Allegra Spender. So it was the fact that he was deemed to have breached bail from South Australia, where he was charged with having a Nazi insignia belt buckle. So he wasn't there as well. But somebody who did show up, who's not a National Socialist Network or White Australia member, but was the Melbourne organiser for the March for Australia on August 31st, Hugo Lennon, Auspill. He showed up wearing a Helly Hansen jacket, which the acronym, of course, is HH. Now, this happened live on Avi and Rukshan's Rebel News live stream, and in case you haven't seen it, this is what happened.
Elected representative speak.
Yeah, no, we know. We've already said we don't want Nazis here.
You're not a Nazi.
You are.
No, I'm not. I'm an Australian nationalist.
Yeah. Well, we don't want Australian nationalists here.
You don't want Australian nationalists?
Yeah, not your
Put
brand.
Australia first. No Australian nationalists on the
I know,
behalf of
that's-
the
that's your-
Australian peacemakers.
Good on you, mate.
Let's
Good on
go.
you. We know you're a Nazi.
What does the HH stand for?
Helly Hanson, it's a
I
well-renowned
know,
sports brand.
I know. You all seem to be matching. You're cute like that, you Nazis of 2025.
What are we talking about?
Oh, no one knows. We don't know what the HH
What
stands
jacket are you
for.
wearing? North Face.
What does HH stand for, guys?
Helly Hanson.
Yeah.
See how like schizophrenic or something.
It's cute that you all wear matching clothes.
Schizophrenics, I see patterns where they aren't and just kind of like skits out. Are you an Australian nationalist?
I love Australia.
Put Australia first?
Of course. Every time.
You never flee Australia if you got bad?
Mate, you just came from America sucking up to the... Like you were literally on your
Where did
knees
you
for
just come
white
from? Sorry, where did
nationalists.
you just come from?
Yeah, so
Where was your last trip overseas?
Israel. God bless Israel. God bless
America.
Australia.
God bless
God bless
Anglo-Australia.
America.
God
I
bless
agree.
the British-speaking race.
The ones that beat the Nazis.
America.
God bless the West that beat the Nazis.
Amen. Amen to that.
Yeah, God bless the English-speaking race. The men who built America,
Oh,
Australia,
shut up,
England. Shut up, idiot.
You are
Do you not bless the English-speaking race that built this
You're
country?
just a, you're
Do you
just
call
a
yourself, are you an
moron.
Australian?
Yeah.
Do you call yourself an
piss
Australian?
Off. Just piss off.
No Australian nationalists allowed?
You're not allowed. We don't want you here.
You're a fake Australian nationalist.
You are a Nazi.
I'm the fake Australian.
You're a
Yeah,
Nazi.
you're hiding
You're a
behind the
Nazi.
flag to
And you're
push
lying about it
the
too.
Hitler agenda.
Which
Mate.
army did you fight for? Did you fight for the Australian army or who did you fight for?
Mate, at least I fought for an army. What did you do? You're a
See,
keyboard
what
warrior.
army-
You sit in your house with your HH.
For the audience,
Mate,
which army did you fight for?
the Australian diggers, our heroes, fought, bled and died defeating your dumb ideology.
They actually fought for a white Australia. You can look up what the RSL
You might.
president
They don't want this Nazi here. All right, there you go. The Nazis who pretend not to be Nazis are gone.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Yellow. Let's go back to. Let's go back. I think Nick practices what he preaches. Where's Rukshan? Where's Rukshan? Yeah, let's go back in. They practice what they preach here. They don't accept Nazis, even if the Nazis pretend like they're not Nazis, because we're all stupid and we don't understand why they've all got the HH uniform. Mate, these are proud Australians. Those are the people that...
Harvey, it's all right, mate.
No, don't.
Ah, it's... All right,
What happened? What happened?
let's go.
You remember that night?
Is that the one from the shows? Ah.
Yeah, I just got evicted from the event by Yemini.
Okay. Yes. Why's that?
Well, he thought my presence was offensive, so he demanded that I leave. And to quote him verbatim, he said, "No nationalists. There's no Australian nationalists allowed," which is quite unreal considering I believe even Pauline considers herself an Australian nationalist.
You weren't a heckler or anything? There was a few
I literally
hecklers.
just got here like 10 minutes ago, was standing on the perimeter, shook people's hands, the attendees, I guess like some people don't recognise me, and they spotted me. I saw him point me out, and he comes over with his whole guard and tries to get me removed. I'm here to see my elected representative speak, Pauline, which I think is totally reasonable to do in a representative democracy.
They've got a barbed wire set up with the AFP officers to protect her there.
I would imagine, yeah. Are they plainclothed or?
Yeah, they're definitely plainclothed.
Yeah.
I can't believe all the police standing back here. Let's just take a shot of them. Now, I'm sure that's not just an accident. Why do you wear that shirt?
I literally just came out of Boston in America. It's very cold and rainy at the moment. Genuinely, Helly Hanson Black Friday sale, like 30% off. I've worn this. I did sailing when I was younger. I've worn this brand for a long time. I think it's a reach to say that there's necessarily an association. You're in the finance district. This is a very common brand to wear. I think it's wrong to tarnish the whole thing because a few people decide to wear it. I think it's just wrong. Yeah.
So, do you think that's helpful or necessary, or everyone should just do their own thing?
I think that many civic nationalists spoke at the March for Australia's two events we've had so far. But on the contrary, none of those more radical speakers are allowed to speak at these sorts of events. So the turf war is really quite one-sided. And the philosophy which underpins the group which allows the sort of radical speakers is that, we live in a representative democracy. Therefore, all dissenting opinions, just no matter how offensive they may be to some, should be heard, because in a representative democracy, some ideas need to be represented, no matter how abhorrent. Because if you start banning ideas or shunning them, you no longer live in that representative democracy, which has underpinned Australia hitherto. And so I think it's more Australian character to allow those speakers than not to. And so it's very un-Australian character to generate this artificial turf war of cancelling speakers and creating entire events that are in rebuttal to March for Australia because it has that philosophy.
After the rally had concluded, I conducted an interview with Nick Patterson and asked him, was that the right thing to do? And I tell him that Hugo, although he may be a fellow traveller of NSN, as far as I know, he is not a member.
I heard that Hugo Lennon was here and he was kicked out.
Well, he's not. He was standing back a fair way with a mate, and I just think they're going to be here evangelising Nazi stuff. I don't want them to do that at our event and to be promoting that sort of stuff. And that's the fourth time that those guys have been at an event. Not him specifically. He has been at other ones, but it's the fourth time I've had people from that group come to my events, and I don't want them there because they don't share our values. We've got a lot of Jewish people here. It's very Christian heavy. We really don't want people going around promoting Nazi ideology to people in the crowd. It's not a good look. It's not a good look for us. It doesn't add any value.
I think he was he's not a member of NSN or that, but obviously he's very sympathetic. Yeah. But yeah, I've just observed him sort of laying back a bit. So I don't think he was here to do anything. Yeah,
well, maybe not, but yeah, look, at the end of the day, we're trying to do our very best to keep it clean. There has been a whole lot of different groups that have infiltrated a lot of the momentum that's been building, and that's the issue. We just don't want it to be. We don't want to get dragged into some other narrative where the momentum stops or gets divided. That's what's happening.
Now, also there on the day was Australia Talk. So as his name is Ben. Now he runs a lot of the X Spaces, well, hosts them, particularly in the March for Australia. Put Australia First debates, and obviously there has been the Queensland split off. So Queensland March for Australia is now Australia Marches. Now there was also a verbal spat between the pair, and it seemed to occur because Australia Talk has done work for Elijah Schaffer, who is now much more explicitly white nationalist and against Zionist influence.
Here's our story. He said that. I haven't said anything like that, Arby. Are you Australia first, Arby? Are you Australia first? Are you Australia first? Are you Australia first? Say it. Say it. Are you Australia first?
I'm Australia first, but I will not sit with that. Listen, you can't.
I think he didn't like the cap either, maybe because he thought it was associated with the America First Nick Fuentes movement. There was that Australia First live stream for a while, first hosted by Josh Howes, who's half Sri Lankan. I remember Michael Nelson Mickle, in response to a brown man hosting Australia First, had a white Australia First stream. Then it was hosted by Gabriel Mare, who is a Southern Italian, who at one of the various Antifa doxers reckons that one of the National Socialist Network white Australia people outside the New South Wales Parliament House, abolish the Dewey lobby, was him. Of course, saying you're America first, Australia first. I mean, the rally's called Put Australia First. It's still got Australia First in the title. Now, so obviously there was these confrontations with Nick and Avi, but then there was also Theresa Van Lieshout, who was there, decided to confront Morgan C. Jonas because it was almost 5 years ago. There was two competing anti-COVID lockdown rallies outside Greg Hunt's office in Somerville. On the Friday, there was Theresa, and on the Saturday, there was Morgan and Monica, when they were an item, did their Reignite Democracy protest. And so Theresa decided that to confront Morgan. She posted this on her own Facebook page, but she was blocked, or what do you say now, mogged by one of the security guards.
By someone greater.
Yeah, Pauline Hanson in the cage. Fuck off. No, you had Pauline Hanson in a cage. You and Martin Smith. You're a fucking criminal. He's a criminal. He's by censoring me.
Hallelujah.
This guy Morgan Jonas is a criminal. He's been censoring me for about 10 years now. And you can blame this pig for digital ID and the cashless society laws. And Monica Smith as well. She's a bloody evil criminal too, censoring me for 10 years. And you can blame this bastard here, Morgan Jonas, for cashless society and digital ID laws. And he had Pauline Hanson in a cage today. He had Pauline Hanson in a cage. At the Flagstaff Gardens. Pauline Hanson in a
Hold me with God's mindful hands. Come on, you know it. Bread of heaven, bread of heaven. Feed now and evermore. Feed me now and evermore. There is a fountain filled with blood, nor crown that you will
and cashless society laws, this bastard
and
here.
see
And the other idiots out there who censor me,
the
and they put my life in danger. That's what they did. Because they politicians trying to murder me.
Lose all, Jason, deal with it. Oh,
Huh?
guilty stain. Where's Jason? Lose all, guilty stain.
Shut up.
Unseen
Yeah, I am.
Okay, that was a bit over the top from Theresa, I think, and they were quite, I think, unfair accusations against Morgan C. Jonas. Now, on Sunday, that wasn't all. New Victorian opposition leader Jess Wilson unveiled her new shadow ministry. So Brad Batten goes back to Shadow Police Minister David Southwick, who tried to reclaim the deputy leadership Shadow Minister for Housing, even though he owns 17 homes. A minister for owning housing is more like it. And Jess Wilson, she decided that she would keep the Shadow Treasurer's portfolio. So 35 years old young mother, she's taking on opposition leader and Shadow Treasurer. So if now there's two polls now that have her as the preferred premier. There's one that have the Liberal opposition, two party preferred ahead. There's one today, Freshwater one, which is dead even. Jacinta Allen, she is obviously in her element with the opening of the Metro Tunnel, even though it's a soft launch, which there's only going to be limited services until switching on the big build in February. So she was doing a press conference today and she whacked the Liberals as much as she could for opposing the Metro Tunnel and that only Labor delivered it. And she described it as she previously described Metro Tunnel as a game changer. Now she's describing it as fairness. Jess Wilson, she's also put into a flyer her 4 priorities as opposition leader. So there was obviously in the crime crisis, there was a Sky News documentary last night, Out of Control, Victoria's Crime Crisis. Then there is Rein in the Debt, have Victorians get quality healthcare. Obviously, you need to spend money for that, so that's a sort of bit contradictory as well. And affordable housing, which obviously the Victorian Liberals, they need to sort of shake their NIMBYism in the inner cities. The New South Wales Liberals, they, even though they're further behind in the polls, they don't tend to embrace NIMBYism, and also, well, maybe they will with Kelly Sloan, the member for Vaucluse, now leader. But in New South Wales, that was the Liberal state government that built their metro, which I think is better. They look like underground cathedrals. I thought the roof above some of the panel roofing looked really crappy, in my opinion. Of course, the Sydney Metro, 100 kilometres an hour. The Victorian Metro Tunnel, Melbourne Metro Tunnel, only 80 kilometres per hour. So Jess Wilson, I think, so far gets the big tick. A year out from an election, but she's still got it all to prove. And now the federal Liberal leader, Susan Ley, she is happy she survived the killing season, and she does seem to have a spring in her step with the Liberal Party room dumping net zero by 2050, though the New South Wales and Liberal parties are going to be keeping it. So she does have something that her party can take up the fight to the Albanese government. They also opposed Albanese's overhaul of environmental laws, which now include a federal environmental protection agency, and also because they did a deal with the Greens, of course, that ends up with more environmental regulation. So the federal laws will apply to native forest logging and regional forest agreements within 18 months, and removal of exemptions for high-risk land clearing, and coal and gas projects excluded from fast-tracking approvals, and the unacceptable impact rule, it is strengthened from not just likely to certain, and there'll be a $300 million federal taxpayer-funded fund to support jobs and transition to the forestry sector. What is probably most concerning is that federal environmental regulations now apply to farmers, and of course they're already really struggling, and their water rights were crippled under the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, which was, of course, Federal Environment Minister Susan Ley, which just show how she's flip-flop. Now, Anthony Albanese, given that he is still riding high in the federal opinion polls, had his wedding at the lodge to now wife Jodie Hayden in Canberra for security purposes, and probably because he didn't want extravagant beachside wedding or harbourside wedding at Kirribilli or at their new home at Copacabana on the Central Coast. Though there wasn't, although Anthony Albanese is on a high, as is inflation. So it's jumped from 3.6% to the year ending September to 3.8% the year ending October, with electricity prices rising 37%. So although Anthony Albanese is riding high, our cost of living is still continuing to go up. So that brings us to the end of another WilmsFront Snapshot news program. I hope that everything went as smooth as possible with the new software and the new setup. And for those who are watching the replay on YouTube, it will be live next week, I promise you that. Now, the Melbourne Underground Film Festival with Richard Wollstonecroft, that is currently in progress. So I will next be at closing night with the film Yesterday's Heroes, which feature local celebrities Warwick Capper and Chris Franklin, who plays Dazza on Fat Pizza. They are both rumoured to be in attendance, and Richard Wollstonecroft is hoping to get to come along Wayne Carey the Duck, current co-host of Sam Newman on You Cannot Be Serious. Sam is currently caravanning in the Northern Territory, so he definitely won't be there. Hopefully I can get an interview with all of them. I didn't get an interview with Pauline. Of course, Avi did, because he got access inside the backstage cage. I did get to shake her hand because I was right up the front with my camera. So thank you so much for joining me on this WilmsFront Snapshot news program. I'll be again back next Monday at 8:30 p.m. Melbourne time on all the platforms again. Until then, we should finally have summer arrive on Thursday. It rained during the Put Australia First rally, but we should finally be getting some sunshine. All right, good night, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to WilmsFront. Visit timwilms.com to view the archive of episodes. And keep visiting theunshackled.net to view all our shows. And to keep up with the latest real news and analysis.